So whether it's home birth or birthing at the hospital, bringing a child into the world, it is the most sacred mission we can ever embark on as women. It is also that connection we have between heaven and earth that is so divine, it is so beautiful, and that it cannot ever be compared to. It doesn't really matter which one you choose, as long as what you choose is aligned to your values, to your beliefs, and to what you want the most out of your birthing experience. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why we're choosing a home birth for baby number 3. I'm going to talk about my birth stories and how we ended up deciding finally for something that we have longed for so much. Welcome to Wild Honey Home. Welcome to a new video, and if you enjoy the topics of homemaking, being a stay-at-home mother, faith, healing, mindset, and just going back to our roots originally as raising families in the perfect design of God, then don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. I want to start by talking about a little bit of background of where I live. I live in the island of Puerto Rico, and unfortunately the healthcare system has had a downgrade fall in the last years that has affected thousands and thousands of families, which have led the people from the island to move to the United States in search of better healthcare and lots of other things, but I'm gonna focus on the situation currently on hospitals. I had my first daughter around 5 years ago. I had no complications whatsoever. I was perfectly fine and healthy throughout my whole pregnancy, and I reached 40 weeks and I think it was like 3 or 4 days or something, and I was induced. At that moment I was a single mom, and I always wanted to do a birth at home, but I had no idea that people could do that here where I live. I had no friends that were mothers. I was like the first one of my group at that time that was being a mom for the first time. I really wanted to do a birth at home. I felt so empowered to do so, but my support system at that time was my mother, and my mother used to be very conventional with everything that was related to health. She would say lots of things that just gave me lots of like fears and stuff, and I just opted to do a hospital birth for the first time. Like I said, I was induced. At this point I have no idea how to take it. Like, my birth lasted around 36 hours and it was so intense. I was alone most of the time, and I had no medicines, I had no epidural. I did this the way that I wanted it to be, but I had no autonomy in the sense that I was connected to the belts that monitor the baby's heart, and they wouldn't allow me to get out of bed for so many hours, and I couldn't eat for so many hours, and I couldn't drink anything for so many hours. And at least my mother, in that sense, she brought me like food, like hidden in her purse. So I was eating because I really needed that energy. It was so long, and these contractions were so intense. At the end, even though I was induced, I don't know exactly what happened or what led me to having a postpartum hemorrhage, and I don't remember the term exactly, but it's after 24 hours. So mine was around the 4th day period, postpartum 4 or 5, and it was just so bad. I almost lost my life. I was at the hospital for around like 1 week in intensive care because I lost so much blood. And at that time my first baby was 9 with 6 pounds, so she was almost a 10-pound baby. So it could have been that my uterus was not contracting enough, or there was so many reasons why could that have happened, but I really honestly have nothing to say about it. The results that came back, they couldn't identify anything. So that was my first birthing experience. So in 2022 we had our miscarriage, and we were already planning a birthing at home and with the midwife that I'm currently with right now, and we just have so much like illusion and hopes into this. And it was like with my husband, so it was my first time not being alone in a pregnancy, and it was just so beautiful. It was just so amazing. And then we had that loss. In the process of grieving, I found myself surrounded with so many fears of infertility, of just, you know, things that happen. I wish to make a video sharing a little bit more in depth of how I've been able to overcome it, and especially experience 2 pregnancies later after that, and how I felt through the whole process. But when 2023 came, summer of 2023, I was pregnant with what would be my 3rd pregnancy, but second baby. My husband wanted to do a birth at home, but I just couldn't. I had so much like fears and doubts, and if we were actually gonna be able to see this baby at the end of the pregnancy. So I wanted to do something that felt very sure and secure and safe for what I thought at that moment. And so I got into the care of, this was a center of 3 women, and whoever was at that time would take the birth, you know, from the mother. And I would say that the prenatal care was very good. However, when it came to my birthing experience at that moment, it was my husband and my mother who were with me in this process. My experience was okay. Like on that day there was apparently like no staff, and even in the like baby care they had no one apparently. It was, my birthing experience was literally me and my husband, and he almost catched my baby because the doctor never arrived, and there actually came some residents. So then at that point, like I was already pushing. My husband grabbed my legs, he opened them, and he put on some gloves, and he was literally ready to catch the baby. And right there, like I was already pushing, like the doctor, the resident came in and she attended the birth, and it was her and just another nurse. After that they took my baby to do the first examinations that they do. They just took her, but because there was absolutely nobody in that department, then I birthed like at 3 in the afternoon, and then she arrived to me at midnight. So it was so many hours without having her with me and creating that bond and connection that is supposed to happen in those first few hours of life. So overall, we're a family that we don't do vaccines, we don't do the vitamin K shots. And it was kind of like hectic because all the papers that I had to sign, they were not like really respected. And at the end of the day, like it was just overall like not, it was a bittersweet experience because I had the most amazing birthing moment with my husband, but just the hospital in general we came to the conclusions that definitely are not aligned with our values, with what we want for our experiences to be from now on, because we want more babies. It's been a whole transition of not only finding our voice, finding the freedom of autonomy within my body, but also like not leaving this to the system as well. And I know that there are hospitals with birthing centers that are so beautiful, and of course, like, I had a hemorrhagic patient, and I know that there are people that have very like numerous conditions that they need to birth at the hospital. So I do understand it is a very important choice that we should be able to make without being induced, without having the worry of if it's gonna be a natural birth or is it gonna be an unconscious scheduled cesarean. And where I live, cesareans are currently like 50% of the birthing percentage that we have. It's very critical to know where are you located, what are the facts about hospitals from that state or country that you're in. So for us, like, now that we have found so much like confidence in ourselves as a marriage, that we have found so much like empowerment, and especially to know like what God designed this experience to be and what we can make out of it, then we just have simply opted to finally do our long wish of doing a birth at home. I've always laughed and called myself like an intuitive mother, and I just simply I cannot say that I have read books or have taken classes or things like that. Like, now with my midwife, she gave us some classes which were very cool, and we learned a few things, but I feel like most of those things, they were just naturally flowing within me. I feel like everything that I have gone through in my life just have gave me a voice into. I have found so much confidence in myself saying the things that I don't agree with, and in my second experience in the hospital, like yeah, we just simply were not having it, and I don't honestly care. Staff was underpaid and they didn't have like much people working at that time, I know, but at the same time, like, the problems from the government transferred to our healthcare system cannot affect the way that we want to live, the way that we want to raise our children, and especially that it will not affect our lifestyles and beliefs. So with that experience, it was also very beautiful to realize that what I thought that was going to be a safe experience, and what we are trained to think that is a safe experience, is actually not. And that gave us a new definition of birthing, that gave us a new definition of who do we trust the most, and in our case is God to take us and to lead us. And if we already had that dream of doing this at our home and there were no risks to be experienced or seen at the moment, then we could have done it. So it was a learning curve for the both of us to know that it's not the way that we want to keep doing things. It just feels like a whole new level of love, of trusting within each other, but also to trusting God into that divine calling that He meant for this to be. Some of the things that I'm excited about is having my children present, is also being able to move freely throughout my home, is to also be able to eat, drink, and just snack whatever I want. I mean, in healthy ways, of course. But I'm just so excited to be experiencing that, and especially because I know my midwife is someone who will fight for that to happen. Like, she will be there, she is present, and there's like this realness with her that I have never felt with any birth providers before. This feels so intimate, it feels so real, it feels so like aligned and mature in a way for me, for my husband, and like just the way that she transmits herself. So I have like so much joy in knowing that she will make this happen. I was talking to my husband the other day, and we were just talking about how in my first birth experience I was basically being the captain of the ship, and I was alone, so I had this vision of how I wanted my birth to be, without medications, without pain relievers, without epidural and things like that. And I just coached myself through the whole birthing. I had to put myself like in so many thoughts and repeating these things that I repeated throughout my whole pregnancy, just to have what I wanted. And then my second birth experience, it was just so beautiful because I was not the one being the captain of the ship. I was the one navigating it with my husband, and I could rely on him. I just found so much softness into this experience. I was able to just literally depend completely on him. He was my voice. He knew what I wanted. He knew what I didn't want it. He was my doula. He did absolutely everything, and just to have that with him, it was so amazing that I just know that this experience will be even, I cannot say more beautiful, because just giving birth is the most beautiful experience in the world. But it's just to have that autonomy and to trust in him even more, because I know what we're capable of doing. We know what we're capable of loving each other in such a vulnerable moment. And I'm just so excited to feel that, to experience that within the walls of what we call our home right now, with my children present, with my mother present as well, with my midwife, and I have a friend that's coming in as well. And I just want to tap within a new connection of myself, to feel the power that I can endure as a mother, as a woman, as a wife. Find the ultimate freedom in birthing. But I've always felt like my calling was to be a mother, and every time I'm pregnant, or every time I'm just going through postpartum, or just raising my children in general, I've always felt this calling so strong, because it's not, being a mother is not a hobby. Being a mother is a commitment. It is a passion. It is an intuitive calling that comes. In general, is to be able to find the ultimate, like to reach that calling in the most ultimate sense, and to live that with my husband. And so far my pregnancy has been very healthy. It's been very different as well, which is so beautiful to experience. That's what I want to say about it. I feel like if you are going through a pregnancy, if you're just getting yourself prepared, if you have ever felt like you want to go this route, then I really hope you consider study, and just to see all the aspects of what can be beneficial to you and to your marriage, and to live that within what you call your home. And it doesn't have to be a fancy place, because you know, like, your home is you, your husband, and your children. Like, it doesn't really matter. And at the end of the day, what you choose must be aligned to your beliefs and to who you are as a mother and as a person. This is my journey. I hope you tag along, and I hope you're part of this. And thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to do this video, and I'm actually excited and nervous in the most beautiful sense. And I will continue to do videos of me preparing for home birth and also for postpartum, which is the 4th trimester that brings me so much joy. Postpartum is something that I have learned to love, and I have learned to become stronger in this. So thank you so much. Please don't forget to like this video and to subscribe for more. And I'll see you on the next one with so much love. Well, honey ho!